Am I the a-hole for telling my wife that leaving her used pad in my brother's place was inappropriate? My wife and I were invited to my brother's 31st birthday. He's single and lives alone in his apartment. So to give you the heads up, my wife and him don't get along so well. But can be civil enough to sit at the same table. So, we went and had dinner and talked and everything was going well, no argument, nothing, till after my wife went to use the bathroom. Later my brother went to use the bathroom, then came back looking pissed. He kept giving me and my wife looks, but I didn't know what was going on till he pulled me aside before we left and told me that my wife had left her used pad in his bathroom. I was shocked and didn't know what to say because this felt highly inappropriate. He said he didn't appreciate what my wife did and that it was a sign of disrespect towards him. I apologized profoundly and said I didn't know about it. He asked me to speak to her or she wouldn't be welcome in his place anymore. We got in the car and I asked my wife about it. She nonchalantly said there was nothing wrong with what she did and that my brother was being ridiculous. I kind of flipped and told her it was very inappropriate for her to leave her used pad in his place even if it was in the bathroom and in the trash can because it made him uncomfortable. She yelled asking what she was supposed to do and I told her she could have took it with her and threw it outside, not in his bathroom, that's my brother's place, and he told me how he felt about it. She yelled at me calling my brother an incel and me an a-hole for getting in her face about it. She said she needed to use the bathroom and it's not like the pad was vegetable since she dumped it in the trash can. At home we still argued about it and she kept on calling me and my brother names. She's currently not speaking to me and is avoiding me entirely. Regardless, I feel like it's his place and he gets to express what makes him uncomfortable in it. Edit. I can't give info or expand on what was seen, but I can tell you that the trash can does not have a lid. It's not like one of those trash cans that have a lid on top and you can push it. What I want to emphasize on is the fact that as guests we should respect people's homes and not argue about what makes them uncomfortable. He said it made him uncomfortable and that should, in my opinion, be acknowledged. The top comment is, wait. So your wife threw trash away in the trash can but you're mad about which trash can she used? Yes, you are the a-hole. And so is your brother. Am I the a-hole for giving my late husband's brother and his kids 3 days to move out? My late husband Adam, M36, passed away a month ago. He had lung cancer and was terminal. I live in his house that he owned, still haven't done anything concerning inheritance. His brother lost his job and place and moved in with me a week ago. I gotta admit I wasn't too pleased to have him move in with me, but I had no choice after I got talked into it by family and since we had the chance to help each other grieve. Here's the situation, he started randomly walking into the bedroom and excusing it as needing to borrow something from Adam's closet. He wears his clothes and even started using his stuff, razor, laptop, etc. He also got his hands on his piano, which to me felt disrespectful because Adam wouldn't want it touched or moved. I try to have conversations with him about what's allowed / what's not, but he'd throw the "would Adam want you to treat me like that" line at me. It made me feel frustrated. I seriously started contemplating telling him to leave. Now the current conflict, I finally brought myself to open Adam's closet and found a box full of wrapped gifts. I read the piece of paper at the bottom and he wrote that he had got me a gift for next year's occasions in advance since he knew he wouldn't be around much longer. I was absolutely stunned. I looked at the gifts but didn't open them. There was a gift for my birthday, Valentine's, our wedding anniversary, Christmas and so on. He said he wanted this gesture to also serve as a comforting method so I wouldn't feel so devastated since we know that grief gets tense during these times. I could not believe it. I mean, he was always this thoughtful, but I never just knew that his thoughtfulness could reach this level. I was out yesterday, and when I returned I found that my nephews had opened all the gifts and ruined them. I was appalled, my joy instantly faded. I had a huge argument with brother-in-law, but he said the kids were curious and that it was my fault for not concealing my stuff like I should. I told him he had 3 days to move out. He started ranting about how it's his brother's house and how I was ruining family relationships over few gifts. Mother-in-law got involved and took his side saying he's grieving and this is his brother's house and that I'm acting unhinged. Am I being too emotional? I wanted to feel his presence in his presence this upcoming year, but I feel like it was ruined for me. The top comment is, not the a-hole. They will forever guilt and manipulate you if given the chance. He will never move out voluntarily. Send him packing. Your husband would not have wanted this. Am I the a-hole for refusing to translate for my sister-in-law anymore? I, 31F, live in Brussels with my husband, 30M, Leo. Leo has a brother Ollie, 34M, who is married to Sarah, 34F, who also live in Brussels. Sarah is from an English-speaking country and has never bothered to learn French, the language our husbands and their family speak, even though she's lived in Brussels for 7 or 8 years now. She says things like, everyone here speaks English, so I don't need to, or I know how to say a coffee, that's all I need. Frankly, she can do whatever she wants, but our husband's parents don't speak English, so whenever we spend time with them, which is quite often, we have dinner there more or less every Friday, the conversation needs to be translated. For some reason, this now always falls on me. I'm also from an Anglophone country, but my dad is French. I didn't mind at first, but she's lived here 8 years, she's married to a Belgian man, and she's never bothered to learn so that she can speak to his parents directly. I find it annoying that it always falls on me if her husband isn't there, because the rest of the siblings, they have another brother and another sister, find it irritating that she's never made an effort and just don't bother translating anymore. Last week I was trying to speak to my mother-in-law about something quite personal. My husband and I are trying for children and it's been hard, and Sarah kept asking me to translate for her. It was really starting to annoy me, especially as it was a sensitive conversation and translating it was quite painful, so when we left, I told her that I wasn't going to be the go-between for her anymore. I told her that she lives here and that if she wants to speak to his family, she's going to have to put in some effort to learn the language. Edit, sorry I forgot to add, after this happened she was apparently in tears with her husband that night, and now both of them are upset with me. They're refusing to come to any more family dinners unless I apologize. Am I the a-hole? The top comment is not the a-hole. If she really doesn't want to learn French, then her husband can do the translating. It's not your job. Am I the a-hole for turning on my sprinklers on my mom when she didn't get off my lawn? Me and my wife have a baby 4 months old. My mom was initially brought into the house to help me and my wife with the new baby. My wife is going through postpartum depression, which is making past issues come up, struggles with ED. The day is pretty much hard for her to get up and take a shower right now, and the pregnancy caused a lot of hair loss and even tooth issues. Eating has become an issue again, which OFC has to be addressed carefully. We have dealt with this before, therapy and doctor visits and such seem to be going better with her, so that's good. However, without my knowledge, my mom has been a big part of my wife's issues. 2 months ago, my wife finally told me what my mother has been doing when I'm not there. Like reprimanding her for her not eating and saying she will harm the baby and be a bad mom. Her eating is and was managed, it's the urge to not is the problem. Professionals and extra help from me were brought into play as soon as it came up. Judging her appearance because of her struggles of getting out of bed, much less getting ready with hair and makeup. Saying that she's being a baby and whining when she didn't even actually give birth to the child, emergency C-section. Reprimanding her when she used formula and not breast milk, saying she's not being a real mom and harming the baby because they need good breast milk. There's even more. All this when I wasn't in the room or around. 2 months ago my wife told me, my mom was immediately kicked out, and has been blowing up mine and my wife's phone since. I blocked her, but she gets a new way to contact me and she brought the fam into it as usual. Since then my wife has gotten better and everything is looking up for her. Well, the other day my mom decided to show up in my lawn in the middle of the night. Banging on the door, I didn't answer because I didn't want her to barge in. So I called her. Mom, let me inside. I want to see my grandchild. Me, no, get off my lawn. Proceeds to yap about her rights to her grandchild and how dramatic we are to be doing this when she needed to grow thicker skin. As she was banging on my front lawn, I remember one of the sprinklers is broken and sprays to the front instead of stopping before it hits the driveway. So I said if she doesn't leave or wakes up my wife or kid, I'm turning the sprinklers on. She kept banging, so I turned on the sprinklers, she screamed and ran into her car, and I went back to sleep. I got tons of messages from my dad, aunt and siblings in how much of an ass I was being, and if it was that big of a deal I should have just let her see the baby and keep my wife in the room away from her. Number 1, I feel like I was right and it's time for a restraining order because this is crazy. #2 in not secluding my wife in her own home to keep her from someone. That just shows how much they shouldn't be here. Number 3, back to number 1. Edit. Hey y'all, if you can't say something to a community of people, that's likely your conscience telling you you're wrong. Don't private message me something, say it here, that's what the post is for. If you can't or scared, something tells me you shouldn't be saying it at all. The private message I received is almost baffling and I think it's my mother face with tears of joy, face with tears of joy. The top comment is not the a-hole. First, props for defending your family from someone attacking them, your mom. We've seen too many stories where the son, you, sides with the mom over their partner, and it's refreshing to see someone actually doing the right thing here. Second, time to get a doorbell camera and possibly even cameras for other angles of your property. This won't stop with a simple spraying from a sprinkler and you're going to want proof. Third, time to start documenting everything she does. Get a journal/notebook. Get one for your wife as well. Write down everything about this incident that you remember. Screenshot the messages you receive. Save voicemails they leave. Your wife should write down everything and save everything she gets too. Why? Because of this. Proceeds to yap about her rights to her grandchild. Grandparent rights, if she does go the legal route, can be very troublesome depending on where you live. You'll want to look into them and have as much documentation to support keeping your mom away from your family as possible. Good luck. This is not a fun place to be, but so far, you're handling it just fine. Am I the a-hole for making my BF pay for expensive bath products even though he can't afford them? I, 24F, and have been dating my BF, 29M, for a year and a half and have been living together for 6 months. I have a well-paying job, but my BF is looking for a PhD position, so is working part-time delivering medicines and volunteering at the university. When we moved in together, we agreed to put 50% of our salaries into a joint account for joint expenses like rent and groceries, and the rest 50% into our personal accounts. Since I make thrice as much as him, I have more fun money, but it also means I'm contributing a lot more to our joint account. One thing I like to treat myself with is body bath products from this really expensive brand. I pay for them using my personal account and buy less expensive products for my boyfriend using our joint account. Recently, I started smelling these products on my BF. They have a strong, distinct smell, so I asked him if he used them. He said he only uses them a few times a month, so I let it go as that's fine. However, I started smelling them on him all the time and also realized I'm running out way quicker than usual. So I confronted him and he admitted that he prefers my products over his, so he uses them daily. I said no problem, but I'll be paying from them using our joint account from now on. Well, he freaked out. He said he can't afford them, and since I have more money in my personal account anyways, I can afford it. I however think it's unfair as I'm already paying so much towards our joint account that I would like to use my personal money for my own things and savings. Also, it's not like I asked him to contribute more than he does towards the joint account. We can afford these products together after our other expenses. It will just cut through a bit from our joint savings. We got into a huge fight and he's saying that I'm financially abusing him. He got our friends involved and they're split. They think I should be considerate of his feelings as I make a lot more than him and can easily afford the products on my own. Now he has stopped using the products as protest and I feel terrible. ETA, since the comments are mixed, I want to give a bit more information. 1. My boyfriend is looking for his PhD in a field with very limited opportunities, like archaeology, whereas I work in a very high demand field, think AI. So we always knew I would be making more money than him, and we agreed that there will be some things that I can afford while he can't. So I make a point to get him nice gifts and take him out for expensive dinners every once in a while. 2. They aren't just any bath products. I use Dr. Barbara Strum or Molten Brown products. They can be very expensive. 3. My job is very demanding, so I unwind by taking baths, so it's something important to me. I snapped when he used one of my favorite bath bombs that's hard to find and is expensive. 4. We also equally divide household chores, so it's not like I bring in more money, so I can relax more at home. The top comment is not the a-hole. Plus I feel that most of the everyone sucks here, and yes, you are the a-hole. Commenters are reading it wrong. You're not charging him for bath products. You're just saying that since the bath products are a joint expense, since both of you are using them, not just you, the cost should come out of the shared account, to which you're already contributing more than he is, sounds like around 75/25. That's absolutely fine. Am I the a-hole for confronting neighborhood ding-dong dashers? Just to be clear, if ding-dong dash is country specific, I am talking about when children ring doorbells and run away. I, F29, am a song with a sick toddler and a newborn at the moment. My husband, M31, took some time off work when the baby was born, but has since gone back, so it is just the babies in the house day to day. Safe to say, I am not particularly well rested at the moment, and the house is a bit chaotic. Today being Saturday, my husband said that he would help me catch up on some of the chores while I got some rest. I was really grateful. It has been a tough week. Unfortunately, some kids in the neighborhood must have taken advantage of the good weather and thought to play ding-dong dash. The first incident was funny, the second time was mildly irritating, but I was downright frustrated by the sixth time. The baby and the toddler were both woken/disturbed each time, and I didn't get any of the rest that I was so looking forward to. I decided that I would help my husband with chores, seeing as I was up anyway. The seventh ding-dong dash just so happened to be when I was vacuuming the hallway, so I got to the door before the kids were gone. There were 2 young boys, I would say 6 or 7, and they got a massive shock when I opened the door. To be clear, I was firm, but I was by no means shouting or hostile. I asked them what they thought was funny about disturbing my family, and one of them responded that I was not their mom. I said back, I am not, but I don't think she would want to be disturbed either. After that, they turned and ran away. It was a very brief interaction. Later, a man identifying himself as the boy's dad knocked on the door and said I made the boys cry. He said that it was children being children, they weren't hurting anyone, and my comment about their mom being disturbed was uncalled for, seeing as she had passed away. He said that I made them both cry all afternoon and they are afraid of playing in the neighborhood anymore. He also said that he could not believe I lay in wait for them. I explained that I was sick and tired of the doorbell going off, but he said that I should just disarm it if some ringing disturbs my family that much. I feel like I am entitled to a doorbell, but that I shouldn't have to deal with constant ringing. The top comment is, not the a-hole. You weren't laying in wait, it was the 7th time the little monsters rang your doorbell in a short period of time and you were just doing a chore. How were you supposed to know their mom died? What the? He needs to parent his kids and not let them run wild and crazy. Why would you disable your doorbell so his kids can prank the house? What is his logic? Am I the a-hole for insisting that I have nothing to apologize for after my husband read my diary? I'm trying to stay focused here, but my edibles have kicked in and I need advice. I have kept a diary since I was 10. It is my form of therapy, and I do not police my thoughts. I have never let anyone read my diary. My husband and I started dating over a decade ago. One day a couple of months in, he was over at my apartment, and I had hopped in the shower. When I came out, he was sitting on the bed shell-shocked. He said he read my journal, which was mostly about my life as a newly single woman. He told me it really stung to read all that. Asterisk, but wait. Hold on. How'd you find it? Asterisk. He said he was looking for matches. He couldn't tell me why he kept reading even after he knew what it was, but his apology was sincere and I forgave him. Not too long after that, things got messy. He started getting either very sad or very angry while referring to things he read. His feelings were so intense that I started apologizing for my thoughts. Anyway, we got married. A decade later, I was thinking of a divorce and wrote a ton to process my thoughts about some sensitive topics. Again, he stumbled upon my journal and read it all. I was pissed, but he convinced me that he would never do it again. Besides, he was really hurt by the things I wrote, and I felt bad. I let it go, but he started getting sad or angry again thinking about what he had read. Once more, the intensity of his feelings led me to apologize for my thoughts. Now here we are, married with kids, setting up Scrabble on a Friday night. He went to find a piece of paper and came back quiet and distracted. I asked if everything was okay. He looked at me sharply and told me that he just read my journal. I tensed, thinking of how I recently tackled some tough feelings related to our different ethnic and religious backgrounds. I wrote things that would have been hurtful to read, and I was mortified knowing that he did read them, but I was also annoyed. Asterisk, wait. You read my journal again? Asterisk. He blamed me for leaving it out and accused me of being a bad person for what I wrote, but honestly I wasn't listening to him anymore. I just wanted to know why we were dealing with this again. It's pretty fucking basic knowledge that one shouldn't read other people's diaries, right? But look at him, forcing his way into my brain and shaming me for what he saw. I surprised myself by slamming my hand on the table. Asterisk, a third time? Asterisk. We were both hurt, but he was accusing me of overreacting while minimizing and deflecting from his behavior. He called me overly emotional when I cried over how violated I felt. This feels so wrong, like I committed a thought crime. So am I the a-hole for insisting he's 100% wrong? I'm so mad, but I am doubting whether my reaction was proportional to what he did. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being terrible, what would you rate someone reading your journal? And would you apologize for the things you wrote? Edit. Thank you all for your comments. I am overwhelmed. For those suggesting therapy, I have been in it for a long time, and I credit it for listening to the little voice in my head instead of ignoring it. Therapy gave me the insight to see what he was doing in real time. But to those saying yes, you are the a-hole and everyone sucks here, all I can say is that this type of behavior has been normalized so much for me, and I have been gaslit for so long, that I automatically convinced myself it wasn't that bad. I feel like I'm emerging from the upside down, and I have to relearn basic social norms. You have no idea how sad all of this makes me. Update, we talked today, and he continued to minimize what he did and kept steering the conversation to how hurt he was reading what I wrote. I kept asking him if I shared those things willingly with him. When he said no, I told him that he can then deal with the consequences of his own actions by himself. I kept stressing to him what a big violation it was and that I needed space to think. I guess he's been stewing about it for the last few hours because tonight he started to yell at me in front of our kids and angrily tell them about what I wrote. He literally told them that I don't like that they are from his culture. Fuck man, why are you hurting them? To hurt me? I was pleading with him to stop and trying to cover his mouth, the kids were shrieking and sobbing, and he was yelling and wild-eyed. The chaos of tonight just broke me. I had flashbacks of my childhood, screaming and crying on a stairwell watching my dad go after my mom. Long ago, I had promised that I would never put my kids through something like that. I tried to get them out of the house since he wasn't stopping, but we only got as far as my car where the three of us sat crying while I kept apologizing to them and trying to reassure them. God, how did I get to this point? The top comment is not the a-hole. He's snooping into your most private thoughts and then manipulating you into feeling guilty. Buy a small safe for your journal, and maybe even a decoy journal where you fill every page with "My husband is a snoop. He swore he'd never look again, but he's a liar. My husband violated my privacy. My husband is a diary addict. Am I the a-hole for telling my brother to grow up or not bother coming to the family dinner? I, F40S, have 2 kids, F20S, and M20S. They're both very successful and I'm extremely proud of both of them. My daughter is a military nurse and my son is a paramedic. They both love their jobs and have a real passion for what they do. I have an older brother, M50S, who became a doctor later in life, and ever since he started medical school I think he's had a huge ego problem. He frequently talks condescendingly about my children's careers and acts as if they are failed doctors. He'll say things like, "Oh, there's still time left for you to go to medical school," or make jokes about him getting jobs there and bossing them around at their workplaces. My kids are quite good at taking the high road and don't dignify his ignorance with a response, but it still irks me, and they shouldn't have to put up with his passive-aggressive comments. Later this month I'm hosting a family dinner and my siblings and their families are invited. I didn't want to blatantly not invite my brother, so I talked to him one-on-one about it. He insisted that he hasn't been talking down to my children. I repeated some of his comments and he claimed that he didn't mean to be insulting and that I'm just being overprotective of my kids' feelings. I said it's more than about feelings and that they shouldn't have to put up with such behavior off their uncle who should be supportive, and told him to either grow up and act like an adult or not attend the dinner. My brother told me to get over myself and said I'm acting like a stroppy teenager. The top comment is my brother told me to get over myself and said I'm acting like a stroppy teenager. Don't invite him, just withdraw your offer. Even if he ever said he would behave, don't trust him. Not the a-hole. He is. Am I the a-hole for attending one niece's college party and not the other? This happened months ago, but as we are still arguing over this, I wanted to ask here and see what others think. I have 2 nieces, Sasha and Nora, who both graduated from high school this year. In my family we don't throw college parties. The only time someone throws a college party is when they get accepted in a good college. Sasha got accepted in a good college, but Nora is going to community college. The problem started when both my sister and sister-in-law, their moms, decided to throw the parties in the same day. The parties are also in 2 different towns, so no way we can attend both. I don't know why, but none of them would change the date. Eventually I ended up going to Sasha's party as she is the one who got accepted in a good college, and like everyone else in our family who did the same, she deserves to have her party. Turned out I wasn't the only one who thought so, and almost everyone in our family has decided to come to Sasha's party. Nora's mom was extremely angry. She called all of us and yelled at us and said we are assholes. It has been months and she's still mad and not talking to anyone. Edit, do me a favor and tell me how I could not be the a-hole her, because how I see it my only options were 1. Go to Sasha's party, which everyone clearly thinks was the a-hole move. 2. Go to Nora's party, which I don't see why it would be any different than going to Sasha's. 3. Cut myself in 2 pieces and send each piece to each party, which seems like what everyone is suggesting. Edit, I see a lot of projection in the comments. So because we didn't go to Nora's party we have been neglecting her and favoring Sasha their entire lives? Where did you even get that from? And do you really believe that 2 achievements that are not equal should be equally celebrated? Both girls play sports, so if Nora's team won and Sasha's team became 9th, should we celebrate both of them equally? Asking opinion from a bunch of entitled teenagers was a mistake, so I won't be reading the comments anymore. The top comment is everyone sucks here. They are in the wrong because they should not have thrown both parties in the same date. The only thing that puts you in the wrong is you keep mentioning one is less worthy of a party because they did not get into a school that you deem as less good.